In this demonstration, we're going to take a look at some of the column operations that you can work with in table view mode. So you can see in this case, I already have the delinquent parcels attribute table open. This corresponds to the delinquent parcels feature class. I've already simplified the column structure for the attribute table, so I've basically hidden a number of the columns that we're not going to be using for this particular demonstration, and this will allow us to focus in on a few specific columns. So any of these columns, also called fields, of course, you can right click, and what that'll do is display a context menu of operations that are available at the column level. I'm not going to cover things like calculate view, calculate geometry, statistics, and summarize in this demonstration. We'll do those in a separate demonstration, but I do want to highlight some of the other items or operations that you can perform from this context menu for the column. Of course, you have your sort operations. And right now we're dealing with the land value column, so if I hit sort descending, you'll see that it's ordered my table in descending mode based on the land value column. Opposite of that, of course, is ascending order. Now organizes my data in ascending order for the table. Those are pretty easy to understand. There's also a custom sort function that will allow you to sort by multiple fields. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select owner name, and it will display, by the way, it will also display in your list of fields every field that's available for this table, even though I've elected to hide some of these fields while I'm in table view mode. So you're going to see a lot more columns in here than you are actually seeing in the table view mode. So I'm going to select owner name, which of course is this column here, and we'll just order that in we'll go with, we'll just leave it ascending order. And then we'll also sort on land value. So let me find the land value column, and we'll do that in descending order. So this is a custom sort that will first sort my data based on owner name in ascending order, and then on land value in descending order. So what this will do is if I have multiple instances of the same owner, it will order it's going to, of course, order all your owners in ascending order. But if you have multiple records with the same name, it will then order the data based on land value in descending order. So if I hit OK, and then I take a look at my data, you'll notice that I have some names that show up twice. So here for under owner name, Alder, Edward, and Rachel, right, they show up twice. And then you'll notice that it's ordered a second time by land value. So the highest land value went in descending order. So the highest land value showed up first for one parcel, then the second parcel showed up a little bit lower. You can see that in multiple instances here for Amos Cannon. Right, there's others in here as well. But hopefully you get the idea here. So it first ordered based on owner name. We did ascending order, so that's why the A's show up first. And then within that, we did a second ordering, so that anytime you have an owner name that showed up more than once, it would then order descending in descending order based on land value. All right, there are other things you can do in column mode. You can also hide and freeze fields, so it allows you to very quickly hide a field if you want to do that. I'm not going to do that for the land value field, but you might want to take something like street suffix and hide it. Right? So that basically just hides that particular column. You might want to freeze a column. Right? What freezing will do, if I click on that, you'll notice it moved land value all the way over to the left-hand side. Now what this will do is hard to see right now because I don't have that many columns. But what that will do is it will freeze the land value column on the left-hand side, so that as you're scrolling through your table, right, a lot of times you have multiple columns in your table, and you often have to scroll through to the right or to the left to get to that column so that you can visualize the data that's in those columns. And so what freezing a column will do is it'll basically pin it to the left-hand side of your table, so that as you're scrolling left to right and visualizing the different columns, that you'll always be able to visualize the land value column. So it will always be present in your view of the data. And that's what freezing does for you. Of course, you can unfreeze that if you need to as well. So that's freezing and unfreezing. The fields item, that will basically display field view mode, right? And so, maybe I want to turn all my columns back on. I can do that. Now, if I go back to delinquent parcels, now you see I have all of my columns here. So this would be a good example where you might want to freeze a column. So as I'm kind of scrolling through here, remember, some of the columns are visible, others are hidden. But I might want to take acres and freeze it. That puts it on the left-hand side. And now you can see as I'm kind of scrolling through my columns that acres always stays pinned to the left-hand side so that I can always visualize it. It's a very handy function there that for situations where you need to always be able to visualize the information that's in a particular field. And of course you can delete as well if you want to delete a field. I'm not going to do that here, but this would delete the selected field from the table if you need to do that. Now in future demonstrations we'll go through things like calculate field, calculate geometry, statistics, and summarize. Those are a little bit more lengthy demonstrations that we'll need to take some additional time on. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining me.